It's Talking Tropics Tuesday or Tuesday Tropic Talk or something like that.
Talking Tropics on a Tuesday.
Yes, I'm Robert Speta. Hey, there's Lee Southwick.
Hey, it is officially hurricane season, so we are officially back in action. We do, and just in case you're new here, or maybe you don't remember because it's been a while, we do Talkin Tropics, which is a stream show that it focuses solely on the tropics, and we do it obviously during hurricane season. We're going to do it every Tuesday until things get more active. We will do more if needed, but at least right now, while things are calm out there, every Tuesday, you can catch us with an update on the tropics.
Yeah, and it is the start of the season. Officially started yesterday. Every year, Lee, I have a hurricane flag. I put it up.
Nice.
In my neighborhood.
Do you have a picture of that? We should show that.
I have a short on firstcoastnews.com that people can go to if you want to
check it out.
Yeah, and my neighbors know, like, I spook them at the beginning of the year, but whenever there's a storm nearby, I usually put it up. And the community, Robert's saying
Flag
there's
is up. Like,
yeah,
we have to
old school warning.
Everyone goes and buys water immediately.
Yeah, or like, hey, y'all better not leave your trash out and blow it into my yard. There's no excuses. I put up the hurricane
there
flag.
You go. It's so smart.
Well, right now we don't have anything out there at the moment. It is no tropical cyclone formation expected in the next 7 days out here, Lee.
Yes, that is the great news, though. As normal for hurricane season, and hence why it is this season, there are all these little low pressure systems we're going to watch closely, but right now there is no need to panic.
And, speaking of low pressure systems we're watching closely, you can see this big old upper level low in the Gulf. And at first, to the untrained eye, I mean, this looks little spinny out there,
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting.
It is interesting. Low pressures, they all spin, but this one sitting over the Gulf and the water is warm enough.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yucatan seeing some pretty decent rain coming off of it. This is a satellite kind of showing the upper level low with it. And even our high resolution graph model kind of showing a little spin with this as it gets caught up with this passing front towards the north. Now, with that said, there's a lot of shear. There's a lot of things kind of going against this for development. I think it could kind of a little bit of troughing, a little gradient, kind of throw some increase in rainfall across Louisiana over through the Panhandle. But one of those, Lee, where I wouldn't anticipate development coming out of this.
No, I think it's quite broad, quite disorganized. But we have a late season front. And it's not uncommon for little tropical systems to try to spin up on the tail end of a front. So it's something we'll watch. But yeah, right now I think it looks quite disorganized for it to actually become something.
I mean,
and even if it did too, just to not scare our viewers, it looks like it's moving north. I think it would just be a big, whether it develops or not, a big rainmaker for places like the Panhandle, the northern Gulf Coast.
And that's the key thing. I think if it was to become a low pressure area or a lowest end tropical depression, let's say we wanted to get aggressive and say that. There's too much shear that really organize it too much further than that. But as said, it would be kind of a rainmaker for that area.
Yeah, so something that we'll watch. But here locally for the First Coast specifically, it doesn't look like it would be our concern.
Yeah. And then there's another area off towards the east, kind of get wrapped up with the same front, pushing towards the east. There's kind of two little tropical waves, which fit to where you would see something develop this time of year. It's typically in the Gulf or running up with fronts off towards the east. Nothing I would be overtly concerned about right now, but of course that's the point of Talkin Tropics Tuesday. We'll show you everything of what we're seeing out here.
And so, as you can see, more likely for something to form in that area of the Gulf where that model is trying to spin something a bit. And then, yes, it can sometimes cross over Jacksonville. That is not us saying that's the path it would take. We just told you we think it would move north into the northern Gulf Coast. But yes, that other area that's off of our coast to the east, kind of off the coast of the Carolinas, models have occasionally tried to show it spinning too, but again, staying off of land out into the Atlantic.
Well, Lee, I want to take a moment to remind him. Okay, so it is June 2nd. We're early on in the season. We haven't had any storms yet, but now is the time to kind of prepare and make some of those small preparations, taking pictures around your home,
Yes.
for the insurance companies. And Faria, one of our reporters here, was out at St. Johns County EOC this morning, here on Tuesday morning, talking to them about some preparations and then their advice there with their emergency officials. So I'm going to toss it over to her. And just kind of talk about what you should be thinking about here at the start of hurricane season.
We want to make sure we're preparing, planning, and protecting ourselves when these hurricanes are coming. And the best way to do that is to prepare. And the way we can do that is to learn from officials like Kelly Wilson, one of the deputy directors here at St. Johns County Emergency Operations Center. You've been here for about 20 years. You've seen storms over your time here. I want to understand the biggest risks people need to understand. What should they understand are the first steps that they should protect themselves for?
So the first thing they should protect themselves are the risk from the hurricane, which we know are both water and wind. A lot of folks will think of the wind, but the water is actually why we evacuate you. Your evacuation zones are based upon storm surge from the hurricanes. So let's first find out, do you live in one? Your next step is, let's say you don't live in one. Do you live in maybe an older structure, maybe a mobile home, something like that, something that wind could affect? So what we need to know is, where do you live? Know the risk of where you live, then make your plan based upon that risk. Where are you going to go? Are you going to stay? When we ask you to leave, how quickly are you going to leave? Have your disaster supply kit so that you can leave quickly. That's that water, that food, all those important policies like insurance policies, paperwork, and healthcare items.
Right. You want to make sure that you keep all those important documents with you because, God forbid, the risk comes to you and that's not something you have, right? As far as how people can best make sure that they're planning ahead of time so that they don't worry about the risk coming to them when the storm is there, what can they do to best gear up and supply themselves with right now?
Right, so that's part of your disaster supply kit with that water and that food. You can go online and find those disaster supply kit list. We have a great hurricane preparedness brochure on our website that you can go get that'll have those lists. The other thing is, let's take the time now to prepare our homes against those risks. Do you have any trees, maybe some low-hanging branches? Let's go ahead and get those cleared off. Loose things in your yard now that may not need to be there. Let's take that time to look at those items now. Shutters for your home. If you're going to use plywood, why don't you go ahead and go to that home improvement store, get that plywood, get it cut so that you are ready in case a storm does approach our area and you're not rushing around at the last moment to find those items.
Right. Thank you so much, Wilson. I appreciate you taking the time to share some of that. I'm going to talk to you now, Chris Naff, with the St. Johns County Fire and Rescue. You've been here for about 20 years as well, and you've seen these risks and how they've affected people over the years, too. The aftermath is what I want to understand. What are some of the things that people could have done ahead of time to best make sure that they didn't deal with the aftermath problems?
Yeah, I think a lot of things that Kelly Wilson just touched on is, preparing your home is a big thing, right? You have your hurricane shutters, your plywood, make sure everything is good around your home. Know your evacuation zone. These are all important things to kind of focus on. Another thing we like to do is to be careful and heed the warnings of local officials, the fire department, the emergency operations center, your local officials, not just us in St. Johns County, because as you come back to your houses, there are actual hazards too. Power lines down, trees down. Our crews, along with power companies and the police department, utility companies, are all trying to clear that. So kind of heed the warnings of coming back as well. Everybody tries to rush back in, and try to get to their home to check it out. But let us do our jobs. Let us survey the area, make sure there's no injuries or trap, and then we can get you back in your home as soon as possible.
You want to make sure you're taking a close eye on not just your local agencies, but listening to them as well in terms of how they're making sure that you should stay prepared. Thank you so much, Chris, for sharing some of that with us.
Excellent advice.
All of that. Preparing ahead of time, taking some photos around your home, cleaning up your yard, trimming trees. Even sometimes, like if you live in a wooded area, getting like a tree inspector to come in.
Yes.
Because I don't know if people know. So we did this story a couple of years ago where if you willingly neglect a tree, like you notice a tree is going to go down and it falls on your neighbor's place, it comes back on you.
Really?
Yeah, especially if it's like a dead, rotting tree. If it's like
because if it's a tree that was alive and it falls on your neighbor's stuff, you are not.
Yeah, if it's like an act of nature, like
Right.
craziness. But if it's like a legit dying tree and then a storm comes, the neighbor can kind of go after your insurance company.
I
for
like that.
Yeah.
Truly, I think it should be up. Like, if you're gonna neglect your own property, it's not your neighbor's fault.
Yeah.
So.
It'd be like if you left a trampoline out and a big gust of wind came through and threw it on your neighbor's house. You'd be like, well, you kind of a little bit of a dum-dum here.
Now might also be the time to talk to your neighbors. Okay, so now I don't want to go off track too much.
Oh, you're good.
So most people know before this, I lived and worked in New Orleans. Plenty of tropical systems come through. My neighbors were at war with each other because the neighbors that were in my backyard, like our backyards faced each other. They had this huge, beautiful tree. But it was huge, and so it went over our yards. And for some reason, so my next door neighbor, she had a shed in the back of her yard.
Yeah.
And repeatedly, every tropical system, that tree would drop huge branches
Oh, no.
on the shed.
Oh.
And so she had to repair her shed. I mean, we were there for only 2 years, and she had it repaired 4 times.
Oh, really?
And so she was at war with my neighbors in the back, saying, "Cut back those limbs, cut back the trees." And the neighbors would say no, because they liked how big the tree was.
Yeah.
And then it was up to her to, I guess, fix her shed every time, even though it wasn't her tree.
Oh.
So maybe now work out a peace agreement with your neighbors.
little treaty there with your
Yeah.
neighbors. Locally, we still have some storms in the area here this afternoon. Not looking at anything tropical, but there could be some flare-ups here on the First Coast. So we're gonna have a separate weather impact live on that. Coming up here at 4:30, 3 and 4:30.
Yeah, 2 of them today. Again,
Yeah.
where this is as of Tuesday. So if you're
As of
watching this
Tuesday.
tropical, Talkin Tropics
Yeah.
later. But yeah, as of Tuesday, a 3 o'clock special edition of Weather Impact Live as well.
Also, separately, I do want to mention, the Eastern Pacific has an area out there for potential development. Nothing here in the Atlantic, but there's a severe tropical storm moving over Japan. Now, I mentioned this here, Lee, because this also hit Okinawa. It's going to run right over bases like Atsugi and Yokosuka. Those bases combined about 300,000 Americans that are stationed overseas and it was interesting. I was watching TikTok videos out of Okinawa where you can see actually the storm that island right there ran right over.
Oof.
And people you could tell there was a lot of military go overseas that have not, or they're not like from Florida, they're from Nebraska.
I was going to say Nebraska.
So
Anyway, go
just,
ahead.
so they've never been through like a hurricane or anything like that. So it is interesting watching like them just go, whoa. And this was kind of a low end type storm, but
So if anyone's new here to the First Coast,
Yeah.
you haven't been through a tropical storm,
Yes.
those are the videos you need to watch to see what it'd be like for you
and I
experiencing
think
it for
one
the first
thing
time.
I like, because that's good that you point that out, because one thing I noticed is, and maybe people new to the First Coast, and I noticed this out there with this one, people tend to, and for example, look at this, the low-level center's there, but like everything's getting sheared and pushed off towards the northeast. So some people were surprised that they said the track of the storm was expected to arrive at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but it was like 9 a.m. and they were already getting tropical storm strength
Right.
winds, and they were kind of confused by that.
Wow.
'Cause-
Yeah, I guess someone who's not used to
Yeah,
tropical
because they're like,
setups.
they said the storm was going to arrive at 3 p.m. Why is it windy out? And I was like, well, the storm's big. Like it.
But that's why, luckily for you all here, if you watch us, and I'm not trying to pat ourselves on the back too much, but
Yeah.
we always give you a time of arrival as well for winds and rain. So we'll say, here's the earliest possible time of arrival of these strong winds. Here's the most likely time of arrival. And then here's where it's the worst. That's at 3 o'clock when the eye or, the center would be moving over or whatever.
And just really quick, just mentioning there could be another storm developing behind it. So if you have friends out there in Okinawa, maybe next weekend could be looking at another round of some messy weather with that. But
Man.
that was one of the big takeaways I saw here on the watching their videos was a lot of people that were new to the area, just like we have a lot of transplants here, didn't quite understand that, we get the buildup, the storm passes, you get some of the rough weather, and then it's gradually going to go back down. It doesn't all arrive at once. And as Lee said, anytime we have a storm in the area, we're really going to be giving you those details and the time frames and everything.
And that's something else to remember too. Hopefully we don't have we don't have to worry about this season, but there's so many people in the past recent years, especially places like Waycross and stuff like that, Lake City, where sometimes it feels worse on the back end. So the wind has moved on, but now it's hot. You have no power. You have damage to your homes. You have trees down. You got to do cleanup and recovery without the AC. So the impacts continue after a storm, and sometimes if it's a bad enough hurricane, it can be deadlier on the back end of the storm rather than when it's actually going through.
Ian was notorious for the back end of it
Yeah.
there in the Tampa area being a lot worse than the front end. So it's all about knowing the details of the storm, and that's what we're going to do here for you. On Weather Impact Live, Talkin Tropics Tuesday, and firstcoastnews.com/hurricanes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to be watching it all season long, so don't forget you can always tune in, especially on Tuesdays. That's our newest updates. And as the season gets more active, if there's a storm to track, we will, of course, bring you more frequent updates.
All right. Thank you, Lee.
Thanks, Robert.
All right. Hope everyone has a good day.